Welcome, Vance, and thank you for being here.
I appreciate it. We'll drop some gold nuggets today, I hope.
Thanks so much. And first of all, I like to start by asking if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that are you doing at the moment.
Sure thing. So at the moment, I have two very different businesses. I have here in the States, I have what are called home service businesses. I have a mold remediation company, a carpet cleaning company, and an Oriental rug washing facility. And I bring those up because I've been able to put those on autopilot. So I have a general manager who runs those, and I spend about 90 minutes a week on those businesses. And the other part of my world is working with companies as a consultant on customer experience and customer retention. How do you keep a customer once you have them? And so that's based on 10 years working for the Disney company and then another 20 years owning my own company. So really taking Disney's strategies and tactics and adapting them to Main Street businesses.
Well, so you are really a serial entrepreneur, no? It's a professional
Yes,
entrepreneur.
I am. Yeah, no, that doesn't include the call center that I'm a partner in, plus a couple of other things.
I must say, a person like you, it's what I think most of our audience will aspire to be. So we are very really happy to have you here and as role model to follow.
Sure. I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, I will tell you. I mean, it was hard work, especially getting out of the home service businesses. I've been out of the business, so to speak, for about 7 years now. So I spend about 90 minutes a week on those businesses. About an hour of that is spent with the manager, and the other 30 minutes or so is spent on the accounting. I don't give up the bank account, so to speak. So I want to make sure that's still where it's supposed to be. But the reason I got here is simple. Well, it's not simple, but it's simple. Is that all of my businesses run now on processes and systems. So we have a marketing system, we have an operations system, a customer retention system. And all the manager has to do really is manage those systems. I mean, don't mess with anything else. Just manage the systems and things will be fine.
I would like to ask you, as an entrepreneur myself, how you, I don't know, mentally operate or how you design the ventures you are entering in terms of you are doing something, but at some point you are starting another business. You are not staying and take this business like it's the apple of your eye, but you are opening another and opening another and opening another. How is this mental mindset for being able to do that?
Well, at one point I was very poor. And a lot of what I do is I don't want to be poor again. Having money is much better than being poor. I'm not saying that money buys happiness, but it does,
It
afford
helps.
nicer things. And I didn't like being poor. It wasn't fun. So I think that's a motivator for me. And two, I've never been a lazy person. Even as a kid, I had newspaper routes and I mowed other people's lawns when I was 13
Mhm.
and 14 years old. So, I mean, I've always worked. And so I don't feel like I couldn't sit around all day drinking beer and eating bonbons. It's not who I am. And I also feel, especially in my consulting work, that I really have a mission to help other businesses get rid of the poor or average customer experiences that are out there because that's the only differentiator now. I mean, every business is a commodity, I mean, a dentist is a dentist is a dentist. There's only so many ways to clean teeth. So what separates one dentist from another? And that's the experience that office delivers. And so I really feel I don't think it's probably from my time at Disney, but I really feel that there are so many businesses that are not reaching their potential, whether it be in revenue or profits or just being in business. They're not reaching those heights, because they don't know what to do. They think if I'm a better dentist, I'll have more patients. And that's not really true. Sure, we expect you to be a good dentist. That's kind of table stakes or entry
Uh-huh.
to the market. But in order to be one that is talked about in your town, well, you have to deliver some kind of experience as well.
Your bio, by the way, it's very interesting and very impressive with the places you have been in working for Disney and NASA, the executive office of the president. How those experiences do you think have mold you or help you to be where you are today?
Certainly, when I consulted with NASA and, some of the other government agencies, I really realized that the customer experience can go into any business. Every single one of those businesses has a customer, whether that is a citizen of the US or it's a vendor or anything like that. I realized that what I talk about can be adapted into any business. It doesn't matter whether you're a restaurant or a theme park or a government entity. You can really create an experience for your employees, for your constituents, whatever, and you will be thought of a lot more highly than if you didn't.
This is really something that resonates with me because I was in the Navy and I remember when I was there, we got some courses of public administration and these kind of things. And was very difficult for us to understand that population was our customer.
Right.
And at that time, I thought this is maybe because the teacher doesn't know how to translate this for us in the armed forces. But later and with time and becoming an entrepreneur, I started to understand to see these relationships. No, but it probably that is not very obvious for everyone, especially when you're starting your entrepreneurship journey. That these relationships of who is your customer, for whom you are doing the things that you are doing, or who is going to pay for the things that you are doing. All these kind of relationships are a little bit maybe not so easy to understand.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really think about who your customer is and what do they really want and what are you really selling.
Mhm,
And I think a lot of people think that, let's just use the dentist, for example, they think that the dentist sells clean teeth or straight teeth or something like that. And if that's all the dentist sold, well, he'd probably be a fairly poor dentist financial wise. Now, if the dentist understands that they are selling self-confidence because now his patients have straight white teeth, they're apt to smile. I had one dentist, he told me about, once we worked through what he was actually selling, which was confidence, he had a salesman as a patient came in and said, he was not doing well because he never smiled because his teeth were
mhm.
crooked and they were dirty. And so this dentist, cleaned the teeth, straightened them out. And now this salesperson has incredible sales because now they're smiling and showing their teeth where before he didn't. So you really have to understand, what are you really selling? Disney sells happiness and Disney sells memories. Those are really the two things that Disney really sells. For my companies, for my home service companies, we sell healthy homes. Now we do it by cleaning carpet and,
Mhm.
getting rid of mold, but we know that our greater mission, the thing that we're actually selling, is a healthy home.
I wanted to ask you now, what is the Disney style service? What comprise this experience?
So I work with companies. We look first at, well, what is it that you're selling? So we identify the product, not the widget that you're selling, but the actual service and product.
Mhm,
And then we map out the entire customer journey, which is not very sexy, but it is vital to do so that you can see where your customer and your business interact. And at each of those points, you can do what I call Disneyfying, which is creating an experience at each one of those points. And that's what Disney's done, really, is they have just created an experience out of answering the telephone or greeting a guest, or that's what they've done. So we can do the same. And so we have to identify those points and then we prioritize them. Is your website a top priority? That's an experience. Is answering the telephone a priority? Is delivering your product? Do you do it through the mail or FedEx or whatever? Is there an unboxing experience if you're selling something? And so we create different things. So like, I'll give you a quick example. So if you ordered my book from Amazon, you'd get it in a little Amazon baggie or a little Amazon box. Not very exciting. But if you order the book from me and, my office fulfills it, well, you get it in a custom box because I want it to be an experience. So you open it up and there's nice colors and there's a quote and everything. And then there's also, I figured, well, it's a book. We should probably have a bookmark in there. So that's in there. It's a little bit of a workbook. So now I also include a pen in the box. And then I'm thinking, oh, well, they they bought something from me. I should thank them. So now there's a thank you note in the box. And then, oh, well, I've got all this other stuff in there. Maybe I should put a sales letter in there. So I put a little sales letter in there for one of my other courses. And so when you get the box, it's an unboxing experience. You have all this stuff that's in there, but you're not going to get by buying it at Amazon. And so that's just one little part of the business where, I've decided to create an experience out of delivering my book.
Do you think, in your experience, that this kind of experiences of the purchasing process, the for the customer journey, for improving the customer journey, is something that we have been developing through the years, or is something that it's more modern because e-commerce, and that we don't have this relationship, but maybe anymore, about going directly to the store and having this interaction face to face?
Well, I think certainly e-commerce, if you want to have repeat customers, you've got to create some kind of emotional connection with your customers. And I mean, there's a number of ways you can do that. I'm not saying you have to hug them and take them on dates. I'm talking, how do you connect with them? How does your product connect with them so that they feel a connection? And I mean, there's plenty of different ways to do that. One of the stories I'd like to tell is, carpet cleaning or rug washing is very boring. And so one of we want people to remember us. And when we're in the home, the technicians and the workers, they're creating connections. But what you have to do is create a connection after they've purchased your service or purchased your product. One of the things I like to do is I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. So I have a monthly newsletter. And when my daughter was younger, I use my kids all the time. So she's 18 now, but when she was like 5 or 6, she did ballet. And so we would take pictures of her in her little tutu before every recital. And I took that picture, put it in our newsletter every year. So all of my customers watched my children grow up.
Mhm.
And we were in the grocery store one time, and this woman came running up to us and she said, "Oh my God, Emma, how was your recital?" And, my daughter and I looked at each other like, okay, we're going to go hide in the frozen food section. Who's this nutty lady coming up to us? And then I had to think about it. Wait, she's got to be one of my customers, right? She has watched my children grow up.
Yeah.
The thing is that she is never going to leave me. She has to either move or die before she'll stop using our service because of that emotional connection that we created.
That's very interesting. And now I'm trying to figure it out, the same developing the same connection with the things that I recurrently buy. If And I'm thinking that I don't have the same experiences with most of my usual vendors, but the ones that I repeated, there is something. Maybe not so deep, but there is something. Yeah, indeed.
And you can do that with vendors. You can do that with, online customers. It doesn't matter. It's just that, do you connect with them outside of always having to do business?
Uh-huh.
Because there's nothing worse than the only time you ever hear from a company is when they want money from you. I mean, that's not a very good relationship. It's,
Yeah,
just more transaction based. If you were to mix in stories and connection pieces and little pieces of your life, okay, maybe you don't want to use your kids, fine. Maybe you like to go fishing, or you like to, do basket weaving. I don't know. And you talk about those things that are not just business oriented, you're going to create a connection and people are not going to leave you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this also, I'm thinking in how can be developed for different cultures. Because, for example, here in the Nordics, the people it's very like very not quiet, and they don't like to be much into the personal stuff. It's like they are buying something or they're purchasing something. They are very much into this is I'm looking just for the product. I'm not interested in being your friend. And sometimes some companies don't understand this relationship, and their marketing or their newsletter, it becomes something intrusive. So I think it's an art to develop the or to get to know the customer. No?
Well, I mean, it's not, I mean, if you rely strictly on selling by price and that's the only thing people buy. Yeah, I mean, you have a good product and you sell it for, $10. Somebody else is going to come and create the exact same product and they're going to sell it for $9.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't have a relationship with your customers are leaving you because there's no reason to stay except price. And as a business person, that's a really bad place to be. In my companies, we raise our prices every year, sometimes twice a year. And if I did that and did not have a relationship with my customers, they'd leave because that is the only thing that they have to base, their buying decision on is
Mhm.
price.
Only
We have
price.
to give them other reasons to buy from us aside from price, because all things equal, if all we sell on is price, we're going to lose the next time somebody runs a sale or has a coupon or just decides to undercut us and sell us for less.
Yeah. And now I would like to ask you, because I think it's a kind of a segue in the same topic about marketing. What do you call smart marketing in for a
Smart
small
marketing
business?
is not doing the Goodyear blimp kind of marketing where you just put your name and your logo up there and you expect people to come and buy your stuff. Um, like if you took the Goodyear blimp, which for those that have never seen it, it's a
Mhm.
big giant blimp and they fly it over top of,
Yeah.
American football games. I would dare anybody to call up Goodyear on Monday morning. So the blimp flies over the game on Sunday. Call them up Monday morning and say, how many tires did the Goodyear blimp sell to all those people in the stadium? They don't know. They don't have any way of knowing that. It could be zero, could be
Yeah.
1,000, who knows? But as small businesses, we have to do marketing that we can measure. I call it direct response marketing or response required marketing. And we have to be able to measure how effective our marketing is. So there needs to be an offer, inside of our marketing. It can't just be a logo and a phone number and boom, that's
Mhm.
it. I have to be able to measure the success of your marketing. Is it print marketing in a magazine or a newspaper? Is it on the radio? Is it digital marketing? And you have to be able to measure the effectiveness of all of those. If you can't measure it, you have no idea whether you're wasting money or not. And I think
Mhm.
that's really where a lot of business owners go wrong, is that they don't know which of their marketing campaigns are working because they have no way to measure them. So I really firmly believe that you need to have measurable marketing so that when you spend a dollar and you send that dollar out into the world, that little marketing dollar comes back with a whole bunch of other little dollars.
Mhm.
And The only way you can do that is by measuring. So please don't use Goodyear blimp marketing.
And thinking taking into account the time we have, I'm going to skip questions about social media because I think it's going to be more interesting ask you about AI and the
Okay.
role of AI into the marketing or the existence or the improve chances of a small business with this technology. And I really would like to hear what your thoughts about this.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think AI, like anything else, is just a tool, and it should be a tool to help you do your job better or your employees do their jobs better. It should not be a replacement for real humans. I strongly believe that as we're going forward, that the businesses that have authority and authenticity are the ones that are going to really survive and thrive in the coming years. Because if without authenticity, you don't know if it's AI or anything like that. And so we need to position ourselves with authenticity. For example, like if you call my businesses, a live person answers the telephone. It's like a real person. There's no AI answering the phone, nothing. And I have that competitive advantage over my competitors because they use, whether it be an answering machine or AI to answer their phones, people know that it's a machine and it can't answer the questions. The machine doesn't have empathy. And so when somebody calls and, oh my God, my dog just took a big poop on the carpet, I need somebody to come out here right away. The guy who's answering my phone understands, okay, this is an
Yeah,
emergency. We need to get this taken care of. AI would just be, okay, well, we can get you in next Tuesday.
yeah.
And so there's good uses and bad. Now, if you're using AI to support the human, where they have information right at their fingertips and calendars right at their fingertips, then yes, that's a great use of it. But I really think that it's, from a customer service point of view, it's not good enough right now to replace a human. It's certainly good enough to help you with your marketing. I wouldn't have it write your marketing for you, but it can certainly give you ideas and some creative ideas for what you can use for marketing, but I wouldn't have it write it because it's just too obvious that a machine wrote this for you.
Going to the topic of the future of work, that it's actually the topic of the podcast. I wanted to ask you if in the years after the pandemic, have you seen changes or some things that had been evolving, or maybe the opposite things that were promised to change and didn't change, they stay the same? All of this is taking shape towards what is going to be the future of commerce or the future for small businesses into the next 3 to 4, 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, I really think people want that human connection. The pandemic completely eliminated human connections for a period of time. And, people were like, oh my God, I need to talk to I need to see people. And I think that is still going on, that, with machines and I don't listen to the news very often because it just is,
Mhm.
it's never good news, so I try to avoid it. But is that, again, using AI for good and to help, I really think that, the positions that are going to be not replaceable by computers and robots right now, again, it's just that authenticity that people are looking for. And I couldn't talk, maybe it's just my age. I can't talk to a robot. I mean, it just drives me nuts. And I mean, maybe younger folks will do that, but me, I want a real human. And while AI is going to be replacing a lot of people, it people can't replace employees or businesses that are customer facing, that they have to look you in the eye and say, yes, my product really works, or yes, my service really does what it says it's going to do. Those are the businesses that are going to be really moving forward over the next few years.
Now, for closing the conversation, I want to ask, maybe it's a two-part question, but it's up to you, because most of our audience is thinking going into entrepreneurship, maybe start a second act in life, open a small business or have some idea to start something for themselves. But there are also younger people that maybe they are about to finish college and they start thinking, should I get a job or should I pursue an entrepreneurial career? What it's an advice, a practical advice you could tell to these people if you want to do it for both, or if you one for all, it's good.
Well, I think you have to be, as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to fail, and be prepared for that, because it's going to happen. It happened to me multiple times. Not every idea was a great idea. Not everything that I implemented was a great idea. But my why and I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I make a lousy employee. I just don't like to be told what to do. Okay. Which is the reason that I actually just say I'm unemployed, even though I have my own businesses, because I'm not employable. I clash with management usually because usually they're idiots. And so I think that you have to really look at who you are and, can you work in an environment? I think everybody should have a job to start off to see what it's like. But if you want completely blue sky, nothing can get in your way, nothing's going to hold you back, you are as strong as your imagination, then entrepreneurship is definitely for you. And you've got to, if you want to be the maker of your life, then yes, 100% be an entrepreneur. If you're just looking for a paycheck to pay the rent and maybe learn a little bit and, be at somebody else's beck and call, then maybe a job is right for you. Entrepreneurship isn't right for everybody. It just isn't. Every business needs workers. The world needs both entrepreneurs and workers. It's just, it really depends on what you have inside of you. Do you have tenacity? Do you have the drive to continue going when obstacles are thrown up in your face? If you don't, entrepreneurship might be a little difficult for you.
Yeah, sure. And the last, I if someone would like to get in contact with you, maybe someone who is listening is thinking, I really should talk with Vance and explain them that I would like to do X or Y. How people can find you?
Yeah, best bet is to go to my website, which is really easy. It's vancemorris.com. And there's a contact me button there. There's also some free downloads where you can get some information on how to improve your customer experience, improve your customer retention. And again, yeah, vancemorris.com would be the best.
Thanks so much, Vance. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for your thoughts and expertise. And I hope it's not going to be the last time that we have the pleasure to talk.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. And thanks to a couple of listeners. Remember, we learn from each other. I wish you agency and a wonderful day. And remember that the future was yesterday. Thank you.
Hi, this episode is brought to you by Sala. Building for the future shouldn't feel overwhelming. Sala is an all-in-one solution designed to support you at every stage. From shaping an idea to AI-powered customer service. But Sala don't just focus on technology. They help you make sense of it and actually use it in a way that works for you. If you're looking to grow, adapt, or future-proof your business, check out Sala.